from rebelgrove.com subscribers. Be with you for about, a little over half hour. It's a little bit of a dead month, if you want to know the God's honest truth, as it pertains to recruiting, with the exception of some transfer portal stuff. Here about 4 weeks, everything will pick back up, but college kids off campuses right now. Oxford's a little dead. Graduation has come and gone, and kind of a little bit of a quiet time, quiet before the storm, a lot of camps and stuff. Ole Miss active on social media, as have been a lot of other schools, about camps coming up in the month of June. A lot of kids are going to visit. A lot of activity will happen. So obviously we'll be chronicling that when the time comes, and that time is coming here pretty soon. But we'll get into all that. But first, I want to tell you that we're brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, the College Corner is next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's not a problem. You can visit the College Corner at collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. So whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day. The largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi. Again, collegecornerstore.com. I'm coming to you from the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You won't regret it. Great service, great product. Corey and the people at Clark Ford, they want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove to you what that means when you make the call, 662-257-1900. Zach, how are you?
Neil, I'm doing well. We typically do some kind of preamble before we start the show, but I'm going to go ahead and lead in with this because it's kind of seamless to jump right into an ad read. But for those that didn't see the thread on the message board, or see some of the tweets that were going around, Lamar Yard, sponsor of this year's show, is now officially open in Oxford on South Lamar. 10,000 square feet of indoor space and 3/4 of an acre of outdoor space is now open to the public. Go and enjoy it. Full stage, indoor, outdoor projectors, 3 bars, children's playground, parking on site, and it's pet friendly. So open fire, barbecue, everything from pulled pork to brisket, ribs, wings, all that good stuff. You can go enjoy a cocktail, hang out with family. Check them out more at lamaryard.com, or you can just go and check it out for yourself.
Where is it located again?
It's on South Lamar, so it's past that roundabout. After you're heading past the couple gas stations, if you're going down South Lamar, going past all the houses, you go over the over Highway 6 in that roundabout, and it's down there on the right, okay. I believe.
All right. Yeah.
So that's big news. I talked to the crew, and they were excited. I think they had a pretty nice opening day, opening evening. Seemed like there were some people there enjoying some good food and drink before the baseball game last night. Did you and Chase talk about that baseball game at all? Because if not, Neil, we could just jump right in and talk all about it.
We covered it. We covered it in its entirety.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
We handled that. All right. Bro Wallace wants to know, is Trey Berry still the expected tight end transfer? So Trey Berry is at Jacksonville State. They just completed their season. He, I think this past Saturday, he is completing his graduation requirements this month. He graduates from Jacksonville State this month. As of yesterday, he had not entered the transfer portal. Have his plans changed? Not to my knowledge. Might they change?
Yeah.
Sure. The last I'd heard was that he intended to be at his new home in June/July, depending on how much time his body needed to recover from a college football season that he just played. He obviously did not go in the NFL draft because the NFL draft just happened and he wasn't in it. I guess it is conceivable that he could decide that he's got enough on tape and that he's going to take care of his body and prepare himself for next year's draft. But again, the answer to the question is, as of what I was told last week, he was still planning to do what it was that he had been planning to do for a while. But the fact that he's not in the portal today doesn't mean that he can't be in the portal next week. Quite frankly, he might do like the kid at Ohio State did, which is you wait until everything's done and then you get in the portal so that you can go do the transfer. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be the naive guy that goes, guys, get in a portal and then find out what's out there. There are guys that do that. They typically are disappointed. Most of the guys who have a home get in the portal once everything is done. It's a formality.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might as well, because you don't want to not have all of your due diligence completed, and then somebody says, hey, we got a spot for you. And you're like, oh, well, I got like a month and a half left of this that I got to do. That doesn't do anyone any good. And then you could probably lose your spot. So you might as well get everything done and be ready to where if there is a spot, then you can jump right into it. So, yeah, I haven't heard anything different. So they lost a tough one to Delaware last week in the playoffs. Big game a couple weeks ago. You had 4 receptions for 101 yards against Murray State and a touchdown. So,
yeah, there's a decent chance that he's been busy.
Yeah.
I mean, he just finished a season. It's a full season. He just finished a season, and he's actually graduating. I'm sure he's got some family stuff, and people.
Yeah.
People do things.
Jackson State had a good season.
Yeah,
he's been doing stuff.
And again, I don't know whether he feels like he needs to take a month off to recover. He might not want to go straight into an off-season program. I have absolutely no idea what his physical health is. Trey and I had dinner last week, and we said, let's not talk about football. And so we didn't. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about Australia, traveling. We talked about our favorite wines. Just had a nice conversation, just the two of us, just kind of sitting there, just, chatting.
As one does.
Talked about movies, TV shows, music. He said, I don't want to talk about football. And I said, I don't want to talk about journalism. So we didn't. It was great. And then he left and had to get back to Jacksonville's drive. Hamel, I guess that's how you say it, says, since the program is in turmoil after the firing of the O-line coach, when do you suspect kids to begin decommitting? And okay.
And a couple about Clements. We can all tie them in here.
Yeah. They've heard my spiel on Clements. For those who haven't, it's very quick. 2 things can be true at one time. It can be the right move to make, and the timing can be weird. Everything doesn't have to be. You can be all aboard the Lane Kiffin train, you being a fan, and at the same time question the way this was handled. That's fair. Mm-hmm. That's more than fair. You can be completely behind Lane Kiffin and yet say, kind of wonder what happened here. That's fair. Yeah. You've got to be completely on one side or completely on either the program is completely off the rails or Lane Kiffin can do no wrong and how dare you question him. Those 2 schools of thought, I get lost in them. Anyway, what were your thoughts on it?
I mean, the timing was certainly odd. Not only right after spring practice, but you're right after your inaugural season in Oxford where you lead the SEC in yards rushing per game. I thought Randy Clements did a nice job kind of piecing that offensive line together. You battled some injuries, battled some inexperience, moved Ben Brown around. But they had a really good unit by season's end. I mean, you had Jeremy James that was a freshman All-American. I think Ben Brown's an NFL center. And then Royce Newman gets drafted by the Packers in, the 4th round.
Yeah.
Had a really impressive showing at the Reese's Senior Bowl down in Mobile. And then I really do think that this is a unit that was on track to almost be even better this year. I think they like some of the young guys that they have. Weren't highly recruited, highly sought after. I think that was part of the issue. Didn't really recruit at a high level offensive line, which has been something that Ole Miss has had a pretty good run at for the past 10 years. But yeah, I mean, I think
kind of lost Zach for a second. There he is. He's back. You said I think, and we lost you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Nick Broker's on track to have a really good season. So yeah, everything kind of pointed towards getting better, and I don't know. I guess when you're the boss, you really don't have to answer to anyone and really say why you did what you did. But outside of that, I mean, got to go find someone to replace him. It's not the end of the world. It's just an assistant coach. The big thing, as you know, and y'all talked about it, got to find someone that meshes well with Jeff Levy, because he and Clements were so close and intertwined with their offense just because they've been together so long. So that's huge.
Yeah, and then people say, "What's the timetable?" I would think June. You need somebody by June. Got to recruit. You want to get a good recruiter. You need to get him on campus in time for the camps, which I think start June the 8th. I think that's the first big day. So, So you've got some time. I mean, there's no panic. There's no football practice in May. In fact, I think most of the guys are probably gone now until they get back at the end of May. So you got time to go do it and do it right. And I don't know whether he has someone targeted or not. Initially, I was told that he does. It's funny, when I had that dinner with Trey Berry, Lane stopped by, and he was going to tell us what he was doing with the offensive line coach, but we had to remind him, Lane, we've already agreed to something here, since the two things that are off limits are football and journalism. So he said, "But I was going to tell you exactly what we were doing with the offensive line coach," and I said, "But you can't, because we had this conversation." To his credit, he respected it, and he sat down.
I don't have any kind of deal like that with Lane. I could probably text him and see if he would just tell me.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. Well, we ended up having a detailed conversation about different movies and some books and stuff, so it was great. All right, Ole Miss alum, the one alum, he says, is there any smoke on the Notre Dame wide receiver transfer, Jordan Johnson? Is there any smoke on him? Why would someone just put smoke on someone? That feels like that's kind of an invasion of one's personal space, frankly.
Yeah. Shout out to Lost, the smoke monster. I reached out to Jordan. I haven't heard back. I told somebody on the board today. I've kind of learned over the past year, with more and more emphasis being on the portal, which I think this is just going to be the norm. Recruits, college players, whatever you want to call them, the ones that go into the portal, they never want to talk. I'm probably batting like under 100 trying to get someone on the phone. Now, normal, like a 2022, 23, they're cool with talking. They'll chat a little bit. But yeah, he hasn't responded. If you want to do some Twitter sleuthing, he follows some Ole Miss friendly accounts on Twitter. I mean, that
doesn't always mean anything, and sometimes it means a lot.
No.
Sometimes it means a lot, and sometimes it doesn't mean a damn thing.
Yeah, and I think the obvious contender here is Missouri. He's from St. Louis.
Yeah.
He's friends with Connor Bazelak. I mean, the Twitter sleuth thing, Matt Corral tweets out, quote tweets a Jets tweet about Elijah Moore and how he led all receivers in yards per game. And he said, hey, why would you not want to come here? We'll get you the rock. Jordan liked the tweet, so maybe that means he's transferring to Ole Miss. I don't know.
It probably certainly means that he is giving Ole Miss real thought.
Yeah, he's probably interested.
And it might mean more than that. But it's certainly possible that that's all it means. It's all. Now, you might have dug in deeper to see is he a guy that likes a lot of tweets. If he likes a lot of tweets, then there's probably doesn't mean much. If he only likes an occasional tweet, then it might mean something.
Yeah, I'd have to give it a once over again. I didn't look that deep. But probably because you don't need to look too much into Twitter.
As a rule, you're only going to hit about 500 at best if you use Twitter as your primary source. You're not.
I mean, a lot of it is just people wishing him luck. And he's just liking those tweets. So,
and that doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
No. But yeah, I know Mike Farrell did a quick little blurb on him today. Ole Miss wasn't mentioned, but again, that doesn't mean that Ole Miss isn't talking to him if he's talking to Ole Miss. Because I mean, maybe Mike has far better connections than me. He might have talked to Jordan, but at this point with the transfer portal, you're just kind of taking, throwing stuff against the wall to see if it sticks. Because
here's the other thing, Zach. Let's say that Trey Berry is coming to Ole Miss. They've already signed Chance Campbell. How many more spots do they have? Only one more, right? I mean, or will they have two more after that, or is it one more?
I was going to say two.
Okay.
Three max, like that. I don't.
They still want to add a defensive lineman who can impact. I know they'd love to add a receiver if they could after the spring, but I mean, some of it might be slow playing things a little bit to see who is going to get in the portal, or let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Some of that might be the recruiting efforts that you're making right now to determine whether they'll be successful or not before you make a decision on another guy. And everybody is poaching everybody else's roster. So don't do the tampering. I will never listen to a tampering complaint again.
It's not college baseball recruiting where there's some unwritten rule. Like, no, it's free for all.
Everyone is tampering. Ole Miss's roster is being tampered, and Ole Miss is tampering rosters right now. So there you go. Just letting you know that is happening on both levels. I mean, I would even venture to guess someone's probably called Matt Corral at some point and said, "Hey, you sure?" And frankly, I don't blame them. I mean, it cool.
No. Yeah, I'll tell you something that you do not need to slow play. That's Kelly English classes, Cooking with Kelly. You can now get half off your first month of those virtual cooking classes using the promo code SoftVerbal21. That's all caps, SoftVerbal21. Get half off your first month of Cooking with Kelly. And you can also check out their nationwide shipping options at irisetc.com. Podcast also brought to you by Cherokee Valley Golf Course in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Head on over, see Cody Allen and the rest of his crew take on the challenge of the wide Zoysia fairways, large championship Bermuda greens, and get things honed in with your putter. You can go over to the driving range, try to figure out your tee shot, and then your chipping green, short game. It's where you make up a lot of strokes there. Book a tee time online at olivebranchgolf.com or call them at 662-893-4444. Podcast also brought to you by Protection Unlimited, Mid-South's leader in commercial and residential alarm security. Wayne Lowry and his team have been serving the greater Memphis and North Mississippi area for 40-plus years, and they'd love to get your business. Cutting-edge security for your home or business, video surveillance options, and monitoring 24/7, 365. Call them 901-754-6510. Yeah, the portal is absolutely it is kill or be killed at this point.
Let's see. With the Rebel Yell says, what's the biggest need for the 2022 class?
I'd say defensive line, because that's always the need.
Yeah, I was going to give a an answer. I was trying to couch it with this is going to sound like a cop-out, but I do think for one more year it's true. The biggest need for the 2022 class is that you get depth throughout your roster. You're still in a little bit more of roster rebuild mode than people want to completely believe. You're almost to the end of a roster rebuild, to where I think you look like an SEC team from a depth standpoint. I don't know that you're completely there yet, so I think it's a little bit of everything, with the possible exception of defensive back, where you loaded up on players. But a little bit of everything, but defensive line for sure, linebacker. Although it's funny, Chase and I were talking about this earlier in the week. The way that the game is changing, the need for traditional linebackers is going away. You actually want a bunch of hybrid defensive backs who are physical enough to play near the line of scrimmage, but who can run in space. So you want edge guys. I think if you told Lane Kiffin and DJ Durkin that they could add an influx of talent at one spot and only one spot, I think they would say, give us some edge guys on defense. Guys who can play off the edge, who can get to the quarterback, who can drop into coverage, who can pursue across the field. Edge guys. And when someone goes, what do you mean? Okay, just watch Georgia and watch Alabama and watch their defensive guys, and usually the ones that play in between the defensive line and the defensive backs, those are their edge guys, and you want some of those cats.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to sound smart. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, the 6'1" to 6'3" guy that's anywhere from 220 to 235 and runs a 4.5, 4.6.
Yeah.
It's easy. Just go get those guys.
A guy who looks like a cheetah. That's what you want. All right, here's a good question. Cap Hill Reb says, look into the future 10 years. In a one-time, no-penalty transfer world of college athletics, who are the winners and the losers in the below list for college football? All right, we'll run through this. Power 5 conference member school, they're winners in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Group of 5 conference member school. Both. They're both winners and losers.
Yeah. I was going to say, on the fence there.
They're going to be super active. Recruiting services, the ones who were smart enough to start committing real time to the transfer portal will be the winners. The ones who just focus on high school kids will be losers.
Rivals has already started doing that.
Yeah. 7-on-7 coaches and handlers. They're going to have
I think they still win.
Yeah, they're going to have to be multifaceted, though. They're going to have to maintain contacts with their guys when they go to college, because if they get into the transfer portal, they're going to want to run it again and cash in twice.
Yep.
High school players at large urban, suburban schools, high school players at small rural schools. I'm going to let you answer this in a second, but I'm going to answer this question. High school players in general are going to be big losers. In general. Now look, the elite high school player who can step in and play, he's fine. He's fine.
That's what I was going to say.
But the high school player who needs 2 years? Nope. Hey, if I'm Louisiana Monroe, am I taking 4 high school kids from North Louisiana who are potentially good players, and I got to develop them? And if I do develop them and they're good, they're going to leave me. And if I do develop them and they're no good, I get hurt. Or do I take 4 grad transfers or 4 transfer portal kids a kid who started out at Ole Miss, couldn't get off the second unit at Ole Miss. Maybe he got a drug arrest, or you know what I mean. He did something stupid. And
nefarious activity.
Did something nefarious and can't stay there anymore. But I'm not running a Boy Scout troop here. I'm running a football team. Do I want 4 of him or do I want 4 of the high school kid? I know the answer.
Yeah, you nailed it with how soon can you make an impact. I mean, ask anyone with the exception of maybe Lance Leipold, who's going to Kansas. he knows he's got a rebuild. It's going to take a minute. Everybody else, we're doing whatever we can to win now.
But even Lance Leipold, if a kid from Oklahoma says, "Hey, coach,
oh well, yeah,
you got a spot for me," which is the next thing, second, third string player at a Power 5 school. Yeah, he's the guy that used to get buried on a depth chart. No, look. Excuse me, that guy now. He's got leverage.
So we were talking about Jameson Williams, the receiver from Ohio State that Ole Miss was looking at. He's going to Alabama now because he was buried in the depth chart at Ohio State. Same thing with Jordan Johnson at Notre Dame, buried in the depth chart. Now he's looking for somewhere to go and play immediately. So I mean, that's the problem is you have and I see down here the 5.5, 5.6 3-star high school player who probably has a chance to turn out to be a good college player in a couple years. But if you can get someone that can contribute immediately, they're going with that guy.
That's who I feel for. Because
it's a business.
That's who I feel for. I feel for the kid who was going to get one of the last spots at Middle Tennessee. Now Middle Tennessee uses those spots to take guys that couldn't quite cut it at UT, at Kentucky. And that kid ends up going to a JUCO, or he doesn't ever get the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then grad transfers, they're always going to be winners because those kids they've got ultimate leverage.
I mean, you're just getting somebody on loan with that. Maybe a semester. Some of them don't even hang around for a full year. They're just there for the fall semester.
I can't answer Larry Joe's question. I will tell you, Larry Joe, that the first name is better than the second one. It's a better name. It has a better ring to it.
Have you done the generator for what yours would be?
I have, and I can't remember what it was, but I have seen it. It wasn't bad.
Mine's pretty good. It's Jasper Chapwood.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd go with the first one too.
Yeah.
It's premium content there. You got to be on the message board to know what we're talking about.
Let's see. Peter Vinkman says, how's Ole Miss looking at quarterback recruiting?
Well, Taven Jackson, bit of a shock last week, committed to Tennessee. Kind of out of nowhere.
Great Zoom call?
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe that new spicy chicken sandwich at McDonald's is something.
Oh. I haven't had one,
yeah,
but I've heard they're great. Great box.
Yeah. I talked with Josh Helmholt about him, Rivals national analyst. He actually told me he thought that Ole Miss was on the outside looking in with him, but they were still in it. I don't think anybody expected him to pull the trigger that quickly, but he's technically off the board now, being committed to the Vols. I think they're giving a long look to Justin Martin, the dual threat quarterback out of California. He's committed to Cal right now. I talked with him a couple weeks ago. He was adamant about wanting to take his visit, so I think he is going to see that through and take, if he can take 5 visits, he'll do that. I think that's probably who they're focusing on right now. You kind of know how we feel about this with, are they really going to push or take their time? Both Levy and Kiffin are going to, they're not just going to take a quarterback, just take a quarterback. I'll say that. So they're going to make sure it's somebody that they think can contribute in the offense before they just make a rush decision and just grab someone. But I think Martin's probably your guy. 6'4", 200 pounds, can run, can throw. Adam Gorney has seen him play several times in person. Said the arm talent is there in spades. So he was excited. First SEC offer was from Ole Miss when I talked to him. So I think he is going to want to take an official to Ole Miss based off that conversation I had with him. So that's something to keep an eye on. But outside of that, I think I honestly, Neil, I think they like what they've got right now with Luke Altmaier and Kincaid Dent on the, I guess I could say on the bench, but in that room, I don't think they feel like they're too pressed to go find someone immediately. Now, you always want to sign a quarterback when you can, but I think they like where they're at there.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think you want to add a quarterback every year. I know
Yeah.
the quarterback conversation always leads to the next year's class.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously if you don't get one this year, you got to pay. You got to have one for next year too. Tony, if you have DirecTV, it's part of the regular channel, CBS Sports Network. It's 2:21. Chelsea's up 1-0 in like the 47th minute, and they just missed a header off the top crossbar. It's the 48th minute right now. It's 1-0 Chelsea over Real Madrid.
Oh, so this is the game to figure out who's going to lose to Man City.
Are you a Man City guy?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yesterday was big.
This is the other
first time ever, Neil.
This is the other semifinal. Yep.
Did you see the weather there? It was snowing in the first half of that City game.
Oh wow.
City match, excuse me.
I was gonna say it's a match. It's not a game.
Yeah, first time ever in the Champions League final. So, be interesting in Istanbul in August.
It's high-level soccer. That's for sure. People can say what they want, man. Soccer at this level is it's high level. All right, let's see. Where were we on questions? All right, I don't know that we answered the quarterback thing effectively. My honest answer is I don't know. I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how much they want, how badly they feel like they have to have a quarterback in this class. And look, it's the elephant in the room. People can say what they want. You've got Matt Corral, who could technically come back. Luke Altmaier's on the roster, and then kids know that Arch Manning's in this class, and that Ole Miss is going to be involved in that conversation. So I'll say this: today's May. Within the next 14 months, I think something eventful will happen as it pertains to quarterback recruiting, because Ole Miss will either get Arch Manning or realize it's not going to get Arch Manning, and they're going to want to get out from under that elephant, because that elephant can be it can kill you twice. You can't let it. Running, anonymous source says next running back. I guess he means recruit.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to Brandon Connor, the kid out of Murfreesboro, this week. He released the top 4. Ole Miss was in that. Arkansas, Mississippi State, Middle Tennessee were the other schools in there. Plans on taking an official in June. Really good relationship with Kevin Smith and Lane Kiffin. He's certainly in the mix there. And then, honestly, I mean, this position is pretty wide open right now on their board with who they've offered. Guys like Emeka Megwa from Fort Worth, Texas, still undecided. Trevante Citizen from Louisiana, still undecided. So they've got a ton of offers out there, and they're going to kind of take their time and try to sift through that and see who's a legitimate target and who's not. Tavares Jones out of El Paso, a 5.9 Rivals 4-star. He's undecided still. He's been really quiet. A name that you also probably need to keep an eye on, Quinshon Judkins out of Pike Road, Alabama. He probably, if I had to guess, now Yale is in the picture. I don't know if they're going to really be a legitimate contender, but I'd say Auburn, Florida, Michigan, and Ole Miss are in it for Judkins. But he's one of those 5.73 stars that's on the fringe of being a 4. But I think they need to take a running back in this class. They've got a really good running back room, but you never know when guys are going to leave, so you kind of have to just always recruit at this point. But those are some names right now that stick out to me at running back. Kendall Jackson, kid from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. They offered him. He's a big back, so a lot of names out there.
Kendall Jackson
from Oak Ridge. They do a lot of nuclear research up there.
Isn't that the name of the winery? Isn't there a Kendall Jackson wine? Or am I?
I don't know. You know that's where they did the Manhattan Project, right?
I did not.
Yeah. So it's up there in everything was hidden up there amongst all the hillbillies in East Tennessee.
Well, that's very stereotypical. Isn't it Kendall Jackson? Isn't that the name of the one of those wines that's like everywhere? Kendall Jackson.
Maybe you're thinking of Kendall Jenner.
No, I'm not thinking of.
She probably has a wine at this point.
Well, she probably does.
Kendall Jackson Wine Estate and Gardens,
There you
Santa
go.
Rosa, California.
Thank you. I knew I wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you get
Santa
him,
Rosa.
if you get him on the phone, you should ask him about his wine consumption. You know, like what wine does he like? And does he like Kendall Jackson because of his name?
There's his NIL opportunity.
Oh, there's no question about that.
There you go.
There's no doubt. So, it's a natural.
Yeah.
Speaking of NIL opportunities and investments, we're brought to you by Daniel Barfield, Barfield Wealth Management. Founded in 2000, Daniel Barfield's been serving individuals and businesses in the Oxford, North Mississippi area for more than 20 years. He has offices in Oxford, New Orleans, Dallas, and the surrounding areas. He and his staff offer comprehensive financial planning, including investment management, estate tax and planning, insurance planning, and business retirement plans. You can get in touch with him at 662-236-6454 or visit his website at barfieldwealthmanagement.com to learn how he can help you. Also brought to you by Billy's Small Batch Bacon. My old pal William Stitt has mastered, and I do mean mastered, the art of bacon. Billy has spent 3 decades in the restaurant and hospitality business, but bacon is his absolute passion. He uses bacon selected from the finest hogs, hand-turned every 2 hours in small batches, rubbed with nitrate-free pink curing salt, brown sugar molasses, and it is fantastic. You got to try it. Yeah, I know it costs a little more. I get it. Try it. It's worth it. BillysBacon.com, BILLES bacon.com. I live in a house with a bacon connoisseur. He swears by it. Order 5 pounds or more, you get a free Billy's Bacon hat, and you'll want more bacon after your 5 pounds. It's really, really good. You can get it already sliced, or you can get it in a block and slice it however you would like to slice it. It's up to you. Also brought to you by Alpha Specialties. They're located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. They're your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it. It's the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got Load Trail. They've also got the Hallmark cargo trailers. They can make they can work with third parties to make game day trailers, concession trailers, as you get ready for the high school and middle school football seasons in the fall. They've got spare tires and wheels. They've got trailer parts and accessories, hitches, winches, straps, and more. They also do all types of truck accessories, and they can repair all types of trailers. So get in touch with them at 601-932-9798 or alphaofms.com. And we're brought to you by Jennings Executive Search. Jennings Executive Search specializes in the recruitment of accounting, finance, strategy, corporate development, and data science professionals from the staff to C-level in all industries. So whether you're a small business owner who needs a finance leader, you work in private equities, or you run a team at a Fortune 500 company, John and his recruitment team of former public accountants will simplify the hiring process by presenting you with a short list of only the most qualified candidates. Get in touch with him on LinkedIn. It's Jon Jennings. Email John, Jon, at jenningsexec.com or call 404-536-3000. Also brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Go to muddywateroutdoors.com. Check out those fishing shirts they've got now as the weather starts to heat up. I think they've got a BOGO going on those. Check that out. Don't forget, if there is a promo code, enter Rebel Grove in the promo code. They're at muddywateroutdoors.com. And we're brought to you by Joey Erickson at Heron Gear Chevrolet. Let Joey help you find the vehicle you're looking for at a price you can afford. Choose from a full selection of new Chevrolet vehicles or get a great deal on numerous brands of reliable pre-owned vehicles. Give Joey a call or a text on his cell at 662-571-2367. Tell him what you're looking for or stop by 1685 High Street in Jackson. Test drive that new or used vehicle you've been wanting. Let him earn your business. And make sure you tell him that you heard about this ad on the Oxford Exxon podcast or the Soft Verbal podcast. And with a purchased vehicle, you get a $50 gas card. All right, let's see, Zach. Hill Rebs wants to know if you're making any progress in the trenches. I don't know if you're digging or what. Oh, he means offensive, defensive line. I know it's bad. I mean, they can't recruit offensive linemen. They don't have a coach.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, by the way.
I think, as I told you earlier today, we were discussing the topics that we would cover on this show. I think that things are going to start to move rather quickly next month with camps. People will be taking visits, seeing things in person for the first time, seeing coaches in person for the first time. I think that's when you're going to start seeing more and more movement. Pieces are going to start moving. That's where Ole Miss will be able to know, like I said earlier, this is a legitimate target at running back. Well, if they're not coming to visit, if they're committing somewhere else, you kind of know where you stand. So that's where I think you're going to see the progress in the trenches and elsewhere. Guys are going to start visiting in June. The clock has been sped up with early signing period. And also just with the dead period, I think you're just going to see tons of people traveling for visits as quickly as possible because they want to get a spot. So
Larry Joe says,
long-winded non-answer, but yeah.
Larry Joe says, what's going to blow up more? Ole Miss if it wins 10 games or Melinda Gates' tender? I mean, no offense to the Rebels, but...
Oh, Melinda Gates. Okay. I get it. Did you see that? Did you see that list today of the, I guess they had to make up a word for how rich these people are. Centibillionaires? There are 8 of them.
No.
So I know everybody on this list except for the third guy, and I don't know who this person is. Bernard Arnault. You know who that is?
I can look.
I mean, I could have done that too. I was just quizzing you.
No, I don't know who that
He's
is.
worth $154.2 billion.
Oh, he's a French billionaire, investor, businessman, and art collector. He's the chairman and chief executive of Moet Hennessy, Louis Vuitton SE.
Does he own an F1 team?
Let's see. He's the richest person in fashion. He briefly surpassed Jeff Bezos to become the richest person in the world. His fortune is $170.1 billion.
So chairman and chief executive of, okay. No, he doesn't own an F1 team. Never mind.
No. Doesn't appear to own any teams. Not very impressive.
Okay. There was he was Canadian. Which French, Canada, kind of same thing. Yeah, there's a Canadian guy that owns an F1 team. If you ever watched Drive to Survive, I highly recommend it. It's very good.
He's got Picasso's.
Well, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. That would be. I mean, someone comes to your house and go, "That's an original Picasso." You're like, that's pretty cool. He's married, has 2 kids, although they separated. This is his second wife. He's got 5 children from 2 wives.
There you go. As someone who just finished Murder Among Mormons, I'm going to need some proof that it's a legitimate Picasso.
Okay.
Because apparently forgery is... You can do it all.
I'll get to work on that.
So the other names on that list, Jeff Bezos, number 1, Elon Musk, 2, Arnault, 3, Bill Gates, 4, Zuckerberg, 5, Larry Page, 6, his partner, Sergey Brin, is at 8. They're both Google guys. And then Warren Buffett sandwiched in between them at 7.
Okay.
So good for them, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding? A guy who's not on that list, but hey, NLI could change this. Jaheim Otis, is that over? It's not over, right? I mean, he's committed to Alabama, but Alabama's... his commitment means that Alabama's the early leader. Am I correct?
Yeah. Talk about Taven Jackson's commitment, catching people off guard. I don't think anyone expected Otis to commit so soon. But no, I mean, Ole Miss is going to recruit him until the very last second. It's not going to stop, and nobody else is going to stop. LSU is going to continue to recruit him. I think that's the big three. It's Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss. That's pretty much who I think is in the running there. So Alabama's going to have their hands full holding on to him, but something tells me Nick Saban has done this before, so he certainly won't be caught off guard with anybody coming after him. Speaking of not being caught off guard, if you need advanced assistance with financial planning, pension and qualified plan support, and business and estate planning strategies, look no further than Bluff City Advisory Group. Former Ole Miss Rebel and founding partner Ben Still, along with his team, make it their goal to help you meet the ongoing demands of your financial needs. Learn more at bluffcityadvisory.com. Podcast also brought to you by the Berry Home Team. When you're ready to get top dollar for your home and find your next home in the Mid-South area, call them. Whether you're downsizing, upsizing, or purchasing investment property, Stacy and Rick Berry will navigate every step of the way to ensure the transaction is seamless. Call them at 901-481-6420 or 901-461-6421 or visit them at theberryhometeam.com. Podcast also brought to you by Saddle Creek Title. We're Mid-South's leader in client-focused, innovative closing solutions. Neil Hanna and his team work awfully close with the Berry Home Team. And they're more than just a real estate closing firm. They're dedicated to going the distance to ensure the ease and growth of your real estate business. So find more information out at saddlecreektitle.com or call them at 901-753-1600. Software will also brought to you by Transamerica Insurance, the best rated term life insurance company in 2020 by Forbes. They offer 10, 20, and 30-year term life insurance catered to your individual needs. Ask about their living benefits option and get a free quote by calling Agent Drew Moak at 601-953-8449. Licensed in Mississippi, Tennessee, and Texas. Call him 601-953-8449. Podcast also brought to you by Davis McCord State Farm. If you need good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates, look no further for your one-stop shop in Tennessee and Mississippi, and that's Davis McCord and State Farm. Call him 901-755-6110 for your surprisingly great rates today. Is there something going on in this match?
Well, I'm almost embarrassed to admit this. I'm trying to figure out which team's which. I think Real Madrid's in the white and Chelsea's in the blue, but normally Chelsea, I always thought Chelsea would wear the white when they were at home. But they're wearing all blue. I don't know.
Maybe they're technically the away team in this bracket.
And Tony says, does Real have to score 2 goals to move on? I don't know. I wish Carson were here. Carson could answer all of these questions. Carson gets in the car every day and tells me about Chelsea. I should probably pay more attention. I think I sort of drift off as he gets 10 sentences in.
Yeah, Chelsea's at 1. Huh. Well, that's on Real's social media team.
Ooh.
For not putting the aggregate. Aggregate's 2-1 Chelsea, so Real needs to score 2 to move on.
Okay, well they're running out of time. They're about to have to get pretty aggressive.
It's 64th minute.
Yeah, it's 66th minute. Chelsea's in blue. Okay, that's what I thought, but I couldn't quite tell them. I tell you what threw me off was that Real Madrid's little emblem. You know their crest. It had a C and an F on it. So I was like, "Is that Chelsea football?" But I knew because Carson's got 4,000 Chelsea things. Okay, I see now. Never mind.
I guess is it like the club day football?
It must be something along those lines.
And then Chelsea's got some weird new logo.
They do have a different logo on their kit. I kind of like it though. I wish I had picked Chelsea instead of Tottenham that day.
I got lucky picking City. I'll tell you that.
Walnut says, why do you think FSU and Norvell are speeding off this year when Kiffin and staff are seemingly slow playing it? He goes on to say, I have full faith in Kiffin and stuff like that, but it's a good question. I think it's just a different strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, different strategy. They got a lot of talent in Florida, so there are a lot of prospects that can get on over to Tallahassee with no issue and go see campus. And also, I think they're competing against more schools, competing against Florida, competing against Miami, competing against UCF, Power 5 schools, and then you got a high-level group of 5. So there's more competition, especially with Gus Malzahn now in Orlando. So Ole Miss is different strategy, taking their time, but also it's just you're mainly going up against Mississippi State within your borders of Mississippi. So probably has something to do with being a little more aggressive, but it could just be a strategy thing. They want to load up as many as they can and then sift through it after.
Pulisic just came in for Chelsea.
He doesn't start?
He didn't start today. Just came in the 68th minute. All right, obligatory, how's Arch going? So Arch was over here the other night. God, I'm about to get Ole Miss in so much trouble. So Trey Berry was here. I told you about that. We had a deal. Lane came over. He wanted to talk about the offensive line thing, and I was like, you can't. And then Arch Manning stopped by while Lane was here. And they
didn't talk, so you're good.
Well, Arch said, I'd like to have a press conference right here and announce my commitment. And I said, no, we've already agreed that we're not talking about football. And so I kind of probably looking back on that wasted an opportunity to really get big news. But no, the honest answer is I think what you said a minute ago about June, things are going to heat up in June. I think for Arch Manning, things are going to start heating up this summer. He's going to take visits. He's going to get face-to-face with people. He's going to be able to start making some decisions. I can't imagine that anything's really changing on a day-to-day basis with his recruitment at all right now, honestly.
Here's what you do, Walnut Reb. You watch Arch Manning's body language, and you see how he acts at Eli Manning Day when Ole Miss is retiring Eli's number. If he's on the field, man, Ole Miss is in a good spot. Now, all jokes aside, I think Arch is definitely going to probably be there.
I would think.
Honoring his uncle. LSU weekend, so it'll be a good game. Opportunity for Ole Miss. Look, I'm being serious. It's an opportunity for them to showcase what they can do. He'll be there. He'll be at the game. He'll be watching. So,
and he'll be watching all their games. They're big time in it. Clemson is big time in it. Alabama's in it. Virginia's in it.
It's just so early. The kid doesn't talk to anyone, so nobody really knows. I don't even think he knows.
Oh, he probably couldn't. He couldn't tell you today where he's going. He could probably tell you today where he would go if he had to decide today, but he doesn't have to decide today.
Right. So.
All right, last one. OM physical therapy. It's along these lines. He says, obviously. Wait, there's one more. I'll get back to it. We'll stay on Arch, then we'll finish with basketball.
Okay.
Obviously, you recruit a quarterback every class. It seems like all SEC teams have their 22 quarterbacks, so it begs to ask, is Lane and staff waiting for a certain player or selling Arch immediate playing time? I can answer the second part of that. Arch Manning knows he's going to play anywhere. That it's not like that. No. I wouldn't be surprised to see a transfer in this market. Some of that's going to depend on what Kiffin and Levy or whoever the offensive coordinator is or whatever they think at the time. If Corral, as expected, leaves and goes pro, what do they think of Altmaier and Dent?
Mm-hmm.
Do they feel like they need to go out and get an impact quarterback? Because don't discount the possibility that Ole Miss goes from Corral to somebody
to bridge
to Arch Manning or Arch Manning's class. I mean, or that Luke Altmaier needs another year. I mean, don't rule out the possibility that. I mean, you don't think Lane Kiffin would be attractive to a quarterback in the transfer market, a grad transfer quarterback who says, hey, let's just say Corral has, I don't know, a really good season and finishes in the top 10 in the Heisman and goes
throws 3,800 yards and 35 touchdowns.
And goes 22nd overall in the NFL draft. I'm just throwing numbers out, okay? Kicks and giggles. 15th overall. Say he goes where Mac Jones went. Let's just do that. He finishes top 10 in the Heisman, all SEC, and he goes 15th first round to the Ravens. That's going to be attractive to a transfer, a potential transfer who goes, you know what, man, I've done a lot. I need to get an NFL resume right now, and Corral's leaving. And it's my job, and I can get in there and go. So that's absolutely a possibility. All right, last question. Is Ole Miss going to get the UNLV kid in the basketball transfer portal? They want him.
Bryce Hamilton, for those that don't know.
They want him.
There's a connection there.
There's a
recruited
connection.
by Levi Watkins.
Levi's
What were you going to say?
Levi's a big-time basketball recruiter.
Yeah, a lot of West Coast ties with him and his time spent in Tempe. Bryce Hamilton, 2018 class. He was a Rivals 100 guy. Big guard. Left-handed. Has good range. Doesn't shoot a ton of threes, but he's a good shooter. He's a guy that you want. He can create his own shot. He's got an NBA-style play to him. I don't know how much you've seen of him, Neil, but I think you would like the way he plays. He's, like I said, he's got that NBA ISO kind of attitude where he's he can go get a bucket, as they say.
Yeah, they like him, and I don't think they're done. I think he would make sense. They were guards short last year, not just a guard, but guards short. And I don't know that. And it's that thing as we wrap up. It's that thing that people say, well, what they need is a 3-point shooting guard. I get it, but he might not be out there. That guy might not be in the portal. So if he's not in the portal, then you want the next best thing, which is depth at that position, impact at that position.
Yeah. Last thing, Neil, before we close, I'll remind everyone I will be in Memphis this weekend for the Iverson Roundball Classic. Deshaun Ruffin will be competing in that. So I guess follow me on Twitter. I'll have some updates from that. Hope to talk to Ruffin if he's got time. Talked to David Sanders earlier this week about if he was going or not, and trying to get in touch with Ruffin. David was pretty excited, said he's going to put on a show. So for Ole Miss's sake, and for my sake, since I'm going, it'd be nice to see a show. But yeah, so I'll try to talk with Deshaun, and I'll have some videos, some pictures, all that on Twitter. I'll put some stuff on the board. So that's Friday and Saturday this weekend.
Awesome. All right. Thanks to everybody for the questions. Thanks to everybody in chat. It's collegecornerstore.com is the site. Go to them, check them out. Make sure that you get your Rebel gear as you get ready for the football season. You get your gear from the folks at collegecornerstore.com. So, Zach, have a good weekend. Be careful traveling. I'll talk to you next week. We'll talk to you guys next week as well on the Soft Verbal Podcast. Until then, take care.